couple of days ago, I was talking to a friend, and we mentioned Alan Ginsberg, who is one of the so-called angry young men, like all young men, from the early 50s, and obviously a key person in the Beatnik revolution. So I was fortunate enough when I was living in Bristol in the southwest of England during the 80s, probably about 84 or 85, he came to Bristol and I went to see him, and he recited his very famous poem, Howl, which is really about how the social order was too rigid and too much honey, I'm home kind of played bullshit. So along with William Burroughs and Samuel Beckett, who wrote Waiting with Godot, and a number of others who are very well known, they created a surge of individuality and, should we say, anti-establishment. Can you believe that? Who'd be against the establishment, which is so wonderful that it represses knowledge and change and liberty and all those things which are totally superfluous. But anyway, I decided, well actually no, I had an inspiration to write something called Growl. And so the way I like to work with my poetry is very infrequently. Not like bowel movements. You want bowel movements very frequently. A couple of times a day is good. And so I wait. It's like a Taoist thing where you go into the yin wu wei. So what you're looking for is what I call it graceful or harmonious action. Often people translate wu wei as effortless action, but actually the point is to be in the flow and to allow the grace of the universe to flow through you. And so I think that's more accurate than this whole sort of effort or effortless categorization. So a couple of nights ago, actually, not last night, but the night before, the beginnings of the poem came through, and I started seeing the whole thing. And so when I got up, I wrote down the poem. Now I do 0 edits, so this is my manuscript, and I wrote it down to capture in that moment what was coming through. And a lot of it was a synthesis of an observation of how post-Cartesian culture has gravitated to denial of grace, a rigid yang, right brain, immoral control, and antithesis to nature. And that's very Confucian. So, like right now, if you're Chinese living in China, some huge percentage of people are totally happy about social credit scores because they've got more than 600 or whatever it is, or 300, and so they can go on a train. And the problem is any top-down empirical ordering is the opposite of how nature works. Nature works through creating abundance and then seeing how the whole system works. And the most harmonious expression of nature is the one that resonates and creates the next level of order. So, yeah, by nature, many people who do yoga and meditation come to the same place. You know, in a culture of yang excess and therefore yin deficiency, balance or harmony, more accurately, can be achieved through going into the yin state. And when you observe and wait for things to come up, they come up in their right form. So I do zero editing. I mean, literally, these words I wrote down, no crossing out, no changing. I think I changed a U to a W as I was going through. But otherwise, everything was what came through. And literally, it took maybe 20 minutes to do that. Now, I'm not telling you all this to say I'm a great poet or anything. It's more that that's my style. I'm not entertaining or try to create something that I think will seduce people. To me, it's more important just to, oh, this is coming through right now. And rarely do I capture it. Normally, it's just like, no, that's gone. But because my friend and I were talking about it, I decided to capture it. And nom de plumes are very important, so I can remain pseudonymous. So I can have a pseudonym, nom de plume, for writing with my plume. And so my first name Guy and my middle name Nathan show up. So here we go. I am going to recite BOWEL by alien Nate Ginsberg. Growl, great heaving mass of masticated mess. Gobbled turkey, turnkey trash. Hashed brown by clown. Prancing pumped, proton pain. Fearful fries, farting fast. Forked on the run. In plastic GMO bun. Foul, putrid CAFO product, anaphylactic antibiosis, churning charnel ground, chomping while texting, polyvagal polyps, plucking through membrane insane, potato pastry, plucked in chlorine, constipated constitution with no amendment. Corporate controlled from cradle to asset seizure. Your savings paying for doctor's golf. Your craving programmed by crazed lab rat SS. Cower, that leak you ate now, leaking inside. Neurotoxic dysbiosis, the diaspora of decay. Depressive mania, bipolar meds in children's heads, forked by fork, blind to life. Big screen, couched next to your wife. Putrid plaques, no words. Cover villi villages, no turds. Livid liver, fatting and failed, languished in low-grade, lifelong shame. Tangled Tau, what is your name?